So let's go over the Unit 8 practice now. So if we take a look at number 1, we got a couple options here. We can kind of reason our way through it, or we can type it into our calculator and just see what it looks like and see where the vertex is, see what's happened to the transformation, and answer it that way. If we look at this, hopefully the first thing you see that it's negative and has a stretch factor of 2. So we know that it's opening down and has a stretch factor of 2. So remember that stretches vertically, not horizontally. So A and B definitely aren't it. So the negative reflects it through the x-axis as well. So that's another giveaway that C and D are the possible right answers. So now I think the best thing to do, you could do negative b over 2a to find out what the x value is of the vertex, because notice one says 3 units left, the other one says 3 units. Our a value, so if we look at this, we've got positive 12 over 2 times negative 2, which gives us a negative 3. So that means we are going left 3 units. So C has to be the answer. But again, you could just type this into your calculator, hit graph to see where the vertex actually was. All right, so if we look at this one, we need to make sure, remember what changes the range, especially when it's in vertex form. Remember, the number we add or subtract outside moves it up or down. So that's what controls the range. So the range of this problem is that y has to be greater than or equal to 0. It's just hanging right on the x-axis. So if we look at this one's been moved down 2 units. So that's from negative 2 and up. This one's been moved up 9 units. So that's from positive 9 and up. And this one's been moved up 1 unit. So that's from positive 1 and up. This one hasn't been moved up or down at all, so it's at 0 as well. So the correct answer here would be D. Another thing to remember the inside lies in case they ask about horizontal movements. So number 3, what is the focus of the parabola? I wrote down the equation here. We didn't have an opportunity to really get into this because we didn't have time, but these formulas are available on the reference sheet, so you can look at the reference sheet, look at parabola, and pick the right formula to use. So if we're looking at this, we can see that h, or x minus h squared plus k. So h is 6. So we know off the bat that these two can't be it because 6 has to be the x value. So here we've got k is going to be 3, so 3 plus 1 over 4 times a. A is 1/4. Well, 4 times a fourth is 1, so we just have 3 plus 1. 3 plus 1 is 4, so the focus has to be at A, 6, 4. All right, so with this number 4, all we need to do is just plug in the values and see what we get out here. So I've got x minus h n is squared equals j is negative 2. We got y minus k and m is 1. So if we think about trying to get y by itself here, we distribute everything through. So we've got x minus h squared equals negative 2y plus 2k. So now, oh, I forgot my minus 12 on the end of that one. So we got minus 12. Now, I'm out of room here, but I think we can all agree that we can subtract the 2k from both sides and add 12 to both sides and then divide everything by negative 2. And we would have something that looks like a parabola because we're going to have x minus h squared. So the squared is telling us that it's going to be a parabola. All right, so number 5, we're going to have to complete the square. We practiced this the other day again to make sure you guys remember it. We're going to get as much room as we can here. So remember, the first step when completing the square is to get your x terms together. Leave a little space, put your y terms together, and get that other number to the other side. So negative 31, we got to subtract 31 from both sides. So now we do half of 8 is 4, 4 squared is 16. So we got to add 16 here. Whatever we do to one side, we got to do the other. Half of 12 is 6, 6 squared is 36, so we have to add that to both sides. So now, if you think about factoring this, it's always x. positive 8x plus 16. So we take half of 8 before, and we use that sign. So it'd be x plus 4 squared. Now with the y, we have y, take that sign, half of that number, that's 6 squared, equals, what is that? Don't have my calculator on me. I don't even think it really matters because I just want to know where the center is at. So if we look at this, it'd be 21, wouldn't it? Remember, inside lies, so the x value is -4, the y is +6, so the center is located right here. Remember, we can't type circles into our calculator because they're not functions, so we can't use y equals and type them in. So we need to make sure we understand how to complete the square. All right, so number 6. Number 6, first thing is you want to get them into, slope intercept or graphing, whatever you want to call it. So we'd subtract x from both sides. Now I got 2y equals -x, less than or equal to positive 12. Divide both sides by 2. Y is less than or equal to -1/2 x plus 6. So the quadratic's opening up and it's shaded inside. Again, if we look at this, we're shading above and below the horizontal line, so that can't be right. Remember, you can only shade in one region. And with D, either this and this need to be shaded or just this, because greater than is that green region and less than would be the red region on the quadratic. So we're shading greater than and less than of that quadratic, so that one's not right. So really we just need to decide A and C. Well, remember, less than means we shade on the side of the line we can't walk on. So if you look here, we can walk on this side of the line. So that's not right. That's the greater than side. Here's the side we can't walk on. We can't do that. So C is the correct answer. All right, so with number 7, again, we didn't really have an opportunity to talk about these, but if you look at your formula sheet, you have to decide which one of those it is. So look at your formula sheet and say, well, what equation does that look like? So the first thing I noticed was it looks like something squared or x squared plus y squared equals something. So why not try to get it equal to 1? You look at like the ellipses. So let's see what happens when we do that. So here we can divide everything by 180. And when we divide them by 180, we end up with x squared over 36 plus y squared over 45 equals 1. So that's like x minus 0 squared, y minus 0 squared. So if you look at that, it looks like we have an ellipse right here. So notice it's not something squared, and circles you can't divide. So circles is always, there's no division going on there with the x squared and y squared. And parabolas, we know what parabolas are. All right, so, and it's not a hyperbola because we got addition in the middle and not subtraction there. So now we need to construct an equation here. Remember, inside lies. So for a circle, we could have x, since it's -3, plus 3 squared. And then y is 15, so we have to go minus 15 squared equals 9.5 squared, which is 90.25. So the one that matches up with that is B. So now we got to circle the equation, x squared plus y squared equals 37 as center at 0. So if we shift it 3 units to the right and 4 units down, what is the equation? Well, 3 units to the right inside lies x minus 3 squared, and then 4 units down inside lies y plus 4 squared equals 37.